What's up everyone, it's Scotty with Money Investing. In this video we wanted to talk a little bit about NIO, Tesla, and SOFI. So these videos you guys absolutely love, these daily technical updates and updates on these three stocks, and of course we included Palantir, but I did a separate video on Palantir earlier because of their earnings. So in this video we're going to talk about those three companies. So I hope you guys enjoy it, find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. That's the least you can do. That's all I'm asking, is to drop a like, and of course subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. Link to our Discord, Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, members only videos, and of course private videos, intrinsic value spreadsheets. There's a lot of benefits included with the link down below. So first things first, let's go over to NIO. And NIO actually did get an upgrade today, with the city raising the price target to $19.20, basically mentioning that it could rally another 30%. And that comes alongside an increased price target to $19.20, with a buy rating also put on the stock. And right now, obviously trading at just a little bit under $15 per share. Obviously, NIO got up to as much as $16 and then got a little bit of a rejection, got pulled right back down on Friday, down over 4.7%. On, of course, Monday, it was slightly higher. But this right here is the overarching resistance that we talked about for NIO in our previous videos, right? So if you go back pretty much, if you go over to the weekly chart really and look at the overall trend for NIO, it's been very much in a downtrend, right? It's been making lower highs and lower lows. If I remove some of these moving averages to make it a little bit more clear, you guys can see it better. So this right here, again, is going to be that overall downtrending channel, making lower highs, lower lows, getting rejected. This right here is the resistance coming from top. And of course, recently we started making even a smaller and smaller falling wedge pattern, which was like converging and converging up until May 30th. Then we really nicely broke out to the upside. And that's usually how these falling wedge patterns go, that they're converging. And then we saw a big burst in volume and, of course, a big breakout over 121%. Resistance all the way up to this lower high at closer to $16, $17 per share for NIO as well. So right now, I think that's going to be a very, very important level of resistance. However, I do expect some consolidation. I expect NIO to pretty much trade sideways for a little bit. And I believe they're going to be reporting earnings here very soon. In the first, actually towards the end of September. So it's going to be a while. They already did report towards the first week of June. So they're obviously in a very, very different sort of fiscal year, and of course different quarterly earnings reports. But we already did get the get the delivery numbers, which were obviously increasing year over year. But that right there is going to be that resistance up to 1620, 1625 levels. That's the lower high, and support level is going to step down to 1375, with, of course, a potential target up to $1920. And this right here is going to be that next resistance beyond this potential breakout. So I don't have a 1920 resistance. That's obviously city's buy target and buy rating, and of course the price target. But if you do get a breakout above this level, my next target is going to be 24.25. So that's going to be that next resistance. We have gotten rejected here not once but twice in the past. Now, talking about Tesla, Tesla did have a little bit of rotation out of the CFO, Zach Kirkhorn, stepping down, and Vaibhav Taneja is going to be the CFO now moving forward. He's been the chief of accounting for a very long time for Tesla. So Chief Financial Officer Zach stepped down from his position effective Friday. The automaker announced Monday morning in a regulatory filing. And Tesla's Chief Accounting Officer Vaibhav Taneja was appointed as a new CFO and will hold both roles concurrently. And of course, shares of Tesla were down 3% after the news, but recovered. And they actually came down to 240, like 242, pretty much at that support. And then, of course, got bought right back up very, very nicely to close only down less than 1%. And this right here, departure makes a second CFO replacement at Tesla in just over 4 years. When the prior finance chief, Deepak Ahuja, left Tesla in 2019, the company's shares dipped as much as 4.5%. Taneja, Kirkhorn's successor and Tesla's chief accounting officer, has been with the automaker since 2017. He worked for SolarCity before joining Tesla, and by way of automaker's $2.6 billion acquisition of solar installer. Before that, Taneja was employed at PwC for 17 years, and PwC is also Tesla's auditor. So a little bit of change in structural change in management here, but nonetheless, I think this is just one of those news pieces that's not really going to affect Tesla all that much. But I will mention that Zach Kirkhorn has been with Tesla for a very long time. So as it says, Kirkhorn served CFO since March 2019 and has worked for Tesla since 2010. So it's been around for almost 14 years. That's a pretty long time. And, and not to mention, 4 years that Tesla's CFO, Zach, has worked at that position. They've been able to turn the company around from a financial standpoint as well, right? It's gone from like literally on the verge of bankruptcy and, of course, negative cash flows to now over $7 billion in positive free cash flows, most profitable company with excellent margins and great balance sheet. So definitely credit where credit is due. It's not all Elon Musk's accomplishment. And also you have to also recognize what Zach has done in the last 4 years when it comes to the financials of the company. And of course, the reins are going to be passing over to Web of Taneja, and he's going to be doing both of those roles together. But nonetheless, Tesla is support at 240. And of course, resistance up to 275. It's still it's still my biggest position right now with Tesla, but I do also have some covered calls that are expiring in November and December. And that again gives me the flexibility to have the shares up until that time. And of course, depending on the calls, whether they expire in the money, out of the money, at the money, depending on what the situation is, I can keep the premium. I can obviously get rid of some of my shares, de-risk a little bit. But nonetheless, of course, if Tesla starts selling off, those calls are going to print. Obviously, the shares are going to be down a little bit, but my time horizon for Tesla is long-term anyway. So support level is going to stay put at 240. Right? That's exactly where we came down to. That's what we were expecting for Tesla to come down to before bouncing back higher. And resistance is going to be at 275 to as much as $312. So those right there, a couple of resistance levels, a support level at close to 240 for Tesla as well. And of course, all the way down to as low as $208, $228, kind of like inside this green rectangle is also where Tesla is going to be for a support for this company. Now, last but not least, we got SOFI, and SOFI here also on the day down a little bit over 1%. It kind of gapped up after the earnings, and it's kind of come down to fill this entire gap. And again, if you take a look at SOFI here, obviously they reported some very strong numbers. Member count increasing 44% to 6.2 million. Company record 584,000 new members this quarter. Products rose 43% to 9.4 million. And of course, the SOFI's bank subsidiary also soared 26% sequentially this quarter to $12.7 billion. And SOFI also committed to remain on track to achieving GAAP profitability on a consolidated basis by the end of this year, which obviously is a pretty big deal for this company, and also raised outlook for call a 2023 adjusted net revenue to $1.97 billion to $2.03 billion, and up from 1.955 to 2.02 billion. So very nice consistency here from SOFI. Again, it's been increasing its products, members, revenues, everything's moving in the right direction. SOFI definitely, I know, has a lot of love in the retail community. So support level is going to stay put at 864. We kind of consolidated for the longest time in between that range, and then finally broke out, right? So SOFI since May, very similar to what NIO has done, is also up over 120, 130%. So almost identical move from both NIO and SOFI at the end of May, and June, July have been very, very strong. But now we're starting to see a little bit more consolidation sideways. If I bring back over those moving averages, you'll notice that we're still trading above that 21 EMA. At least up until now, we're starting to see a little bit of a breakdown here on the day today after being down 1%, but support level is going to stay put at 864, 865. So this right here is going to be that support. Resistance all the way up to $9.99, closer to $10. And of course, that next target up to $13.75 as well. Now, a couple things I want to mention is that if you are planning to, let's say, buy any of these companies like for the long term, right? If these are companies that interest you a lot, if the stock price starts selling off, that's when you want to start looking at selling cash secured puts, right? Because that gives you the opportunity to not only buy the stock at your desired price, right? So you're not overpaying, but also generate that premium, generate that cash flow, thereby lowering your cost basis even further. When the stock prices are going higher, obviously you want to be focusing on selling covered calls. And these are specific strategies, very conservative strategies that we talk about and teach and discuss in our money investing community. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely check out the link down below. We'll be happy to have you on board as our member, as our money investing community member. And make sure that you drop a like, of course, on this video. And of course, check out the links down below. Let me know your thoughts down on in the comments for NIO, Tesla, SOFI. Palantir already did a video earlier. They reported some good numbers as well with $1 billion share buybacks. It's a pretty big deal for that company. So again, you can check that out as well if you haven't already. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Drop a like, subscribe, link to our Discord, Patreon down below. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.